Hi, G313. Hi, welcome to weeks 3 and 4. Weeks 1 and 2 already in the books, so to speak. So I think we have some loose ends from week 1 and 2. And basically, you know what? You guys, after the first 2 weeks, have probably kind of realized right now, but by now that I'm not, I'm pretty thorough. Um, I don't leave anyone behind. Everybody gets a video critique, and I really, really try to be very clear about, um, where I think you should take your portfolio based on, my experience, as to what works and what I've seen work consistently in the past, and what I've seen not work consistently in the past. So, my goal for this class is to get you guys jobs. That's my goal. I mean, that's what I want. If that's what you want, that's what I want, and I'll do everything I can to get you there. So, week 3 and 4, we are going to continue. A couple of comments in weeks 1 and 2 regarding assignments 1 and 2. But pre-portfolio preparation type stuff. It's really super important, and I've asked you guys. I was pretty thorough in asking you guys a lot of questions, and really to consider a lot of things that you may not have otherwise considered. Specifically, I think that the main takeaway from weeks 1 and 2 is to train yourself to think like an employer. So, in other words, you don't want to try to make yourself sound like you're doing things that other designers aren't doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to prove that you're creative, and that you're punctual, and that you're able to deliver projects on time, and that you've got this amazing passion for design. And that's all wonderful, but as we've learned after weeks 1 and 2, that's not as important as the tangible assets that you need to present to the employer. And that's what I say about thinking like an employer, because that's what an employer wants to see. Employers don't want to gamble on your passion. They don't. They want solid, tangible assets for which they can ascertain how successful you'll be on their job based on what you're showing them. Okay, so week 1 and 2, week 3 and 4, we're going to take that idea a little bit further. The one thing I want to mention about, you know what, you guys were good in your creative blueprints. That's good. I described some areas that you might want to think, but that's where I started trying to develop this notion of thinking like the employer is in 1-2 assignment 2. Okay, and then assignment 3, the actual portfolio submission requirements. Thank you very much for those of you who really went ahead and got that thing detailed to the point where, and I can just look at it and decipher where we're at and where we need to be. And for those of you who perhaps maybe received some comments that might indicate that your presentations could have been a little bit more expeditious in their demeanor, maybe showing a little more information, giving me a little bit of a leg up to decide where you are in the process and where you need to be. That's really super important, and you'll hear me harp on that, and you'll hear me harp on this notion of getting all your work set aside so that we can start working on individual pieces. And that's what the main intent of week 1 was getting all the work chosen and set aside. So if you haven't gotten to the point where I've said, okay, we're ready to continue, then I've probably said something like, could you repost, maybe paying more attention to the required details, okay? And I'm not trying to do anything to give you guys more work. Trust me, I'm not a make work kind of guy. I'm very pragmatic. So, I'm looking at things that are going to develop you. I'm not going to ask you to repost something just because I didn't think you did a good job the first time around. I'm going to ask you to repost things because I think it's going to help build a solid foundation for you to understand this process we're studying. Okay, week 1, assignment 3, the work. So take your comments and move from there. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And please, by all means, as you guys see, I made videos. By all means, go through each other's videos. This is a public forum. It means these are all fair game, okay? I really think it's important for you guys to look at each other's video critiques, because I can guarantee you'll pick up some tips for your own work. Guarantee it, okay? Let's jump into weeks 3 and 4 and see what we're doing, okay? So weeks 3 and 4, we're going to take this notion of the explorer And we're going to walk a little bit further with it. And we're going to continue the Explorer phase by examining portfolio unity and organization. So how are we going to do that? First of all, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at good and bad portfolio sites. Okay, and when you're doing this, really try to pay attention to what you're saying when you write this up. Okay, because if you are able to take your mind and take your eye and coordinate it with your mind to be able to say things like, this is a good example because it's displaying outstanding alignment throughout the presentation. That's a good, solid, tangible thing to point to where we can say, all right, that works for this particular example. Maybe it will work for mine, so that's something that I'm going to try, okay? Follow me, as opposed to just saying, well, I think this is good because everything looks nice together on the page. Do you see what I'm saying? It is going to help you immensely to be able to point your finger right at things that are working or that are not working. I promise you, if you're able to do that, you'll be able to add or avoid those things in your own work. Conceptual attitudes. Read this, it's pretty important. Typography. Anybody who tells you that typography isn't far and away the number one asset that employers are looking for, anyone looking for designers, design professionals, portfolio, typography is critical, guys, just critical. So really, really pay attention to your typography in your presentations. Types of portfolios. We got format and packaging. Flat file or flat art portfolios. I recommend absolutely. I know it's not required. I recommend a book. I mean, I highly recommend the book because if you do go on any in-person interviews, you're going to need a book. They're going to want to expect you to sit down and show them a book. And the book is critical because if it's not designed impeccably, and then as a book, it's not, you don't have any Photoshop tricks to fix bent corners or creased pages in a portfolio. It's got to be perfect because they're holding it and looking at it and judging it. Okay, and then I also highly recommend a digital portfolio, and we'll get to that in coming weeks. Flat file formats, choose an orientation, decide on a scale, and consider the binding and packaging. Again, anybody who wants any suggestions, comments, or examples for portfolio cases or what type of portfolio to use, I've got some wonderful recommendations. Some of these I would stay away from. So let me know if you want some further information on that. Another good section on your digital portfolio, and then layout of your portfolio is very important too. I want to do this right now. I want to bring your attention to this. You've got this layout of your portfolio. Once you have to determine what will include in your portfolio, you have to then decide what is the logical representation in the order in which you're going to present your work. Read through this. There's some suggestions here, but I want to draw your attention to the bottom here where it says are elements you may want to consider in your layout are labels. Labeling is very important in your portfolios. Don't go nuts. I'm saying the name of the project, the name of the client, a short description, your part that you played in the role, and any other information you feel is pertinent, like printing processes, paper used, etc., etc. Okay. That's important stuff. I want to go to here too. This is self-explanatory. I'm not even going to go through this. It's self-explanatory. Just read through it. And please do the assignment with some little zest behind it. Remember, these are not make-work assignments. These assignments are critical for you to get a solid understanding of the foundational underpinnings, holding up our portfolios. So it's a lot of students are like, well, I got so much work to design, and why do you make us do all this stuff? It's really, really super important. And you guys towards the 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th week, or 9th and 10th week, you guys are going to start saying, yeah, you know what? I get it now. I get it. I promise you will. Okay, portfolio progress. In this, we have, what do we have to do this week? Let's take a look. I'm going to show you guys an example. So I'm going to put you on hold right now while I bring up the requirements for this week. Okay, got what I needed. Where did it go? I thought I had what I needed. Okay. There we go. All right, so associate's degree, we have this, we have this, and then we have this. Okay, so what do we have for week 3 and 4? We've got this. We've got, 1 and 2. Please continue working on 1 and 2, weeks 1 and 2. In this sheet, it's listed as week 2. So we have got your 5 collateral design pieces in your thumbnails process book. Keep working on that. Feel free to submit it to me for questions, comments, etc., critique. But while working on that, you'll be expected to move forward to week 3 and week 4 elements due for the coming 2 weeks from tonight. That's Sunday, the Sunday after next. So that would be your corporate identity and your web, digital media, publication design. Then in week 4, you've got digital graphics design, package design. Okay, so let's take a closer look at that. Then I'm going to show you an example of a portfolio, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so here's what we have about corporate identity. Let's go over to the corporate design. We have identity package from the following. This is one element right here, guys, by the by. Okay, letterhead, business card, envelope, and a label that's one item. Okay, so that doesn't count as 4 items. That counts as 1. So your corporate design, your identity package will have to have a letterhead, a business card, a label, and a business envelope, and then one of these other two things. Okay, preferably. I mean, I think most of you probably have a style guide for your personal identity, or not your personal identity, for your identity package. So that would be something to think about using that. Okay, so that's corporate design, corporate identity. Let's go to web digital media. You've got 3 pages deep that we'd like to see. Okay, please include the URL and then 3 screenshots, 3 pages deep on that. Then you have your publication design. We'll take a look at that because those are probably going to take a little bit of comments to try to figure out where exactly we're at on that. But get those in, and we can take a look at those. And what I would suggest that you do is submit these early so that we can get the comments back, so you guys can get your edits in and get this wrapped up by 2 weeks from tonight, so that we can move on to the next set of deliverables. Okay, so let me give you an example so you kind of know. This is an example of a portfolio. A couple of things I want you to notice. Okay, left-hand page is using a macro shot as an introduction to the piece. Okay, all of the introductions are on the right-hand page, as we can see. Let me just go here. That's a PDF. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the left-hand side showing the introduction. Now, on the right-hand side, I want you to notice that poster design, motion graphics, Futura typeface. Okay, so that remains constant on each page. Okay, those are the labels I was talking about. Okay, yours are going to be different, of course, but this is what I'm talking about. So that the viewer knows this. Okay, the viewer turns the page, says, what am I looking at here? Oh, this is poster design, motion graphics. Interesting. This is a poster. Very interesting. And then, so you have poster on this side, motion graphics on this time. Then, even to take it a little bit further, you have the objective, the concept, the software, and the fonts used. Okay, and that formula stays the same on each piece. Okay, so here's the presentation, macro shot. Here's the presentation of the cover, the spine, the back, inside spread, and then the digital file of the flat cover. Here's poster design, the name of the campaign, social awareness, poster design, books, not bombs. Macro shot, here's one poster. Here's a macro shot of that poster. Here's the full shot of that poster, full shot of that poster, some macro shots, and then some placement shots over here. Note, everything falls within a predetermined grid. Okay, same thing here. This is the website I was talking about. The screenshots are 3 pages deep. This one actually goes 5 pages deep. Then you have this, again, 3D package design, and then the name of the thing, and the different presentations. This one has some live product shots. Note, please, how the craft. Okay, this is a mock-up. All right, each one of these was mocked up. Note that in the Photoshop presentation, note how everything is just, craft is just incredible. So that's really showing a nice attention to detail in craft. Okay, and then here's your CDs, a couple ideas of how to present CDs, DVDs, et cetera, et cetera. Here's your identity with your number 10 envelope, your letterhead, and your business card. Okay, then here's some other identity pieces with your identity standards manual. Okay, and so on and so forth. But the main thing I want you to notice here is that the type remains the same in every single page. Okay, and that being this: you have the title, you have the name of the piece. I'm sorry, you have the requirement or the objective, then the name of the actual piece. Okay, then the viewing area, and then the explanation / description area where you have the objective, the concept, the software, and the fonts used. Okay, and you know, we can go on, and then this has a kind of a neat twist for a digital PDF portfolio, and then it's actually showing images of the actual printed out portfolio in the book. Okay, so all right, guys, good stuff. Food for thought. Let me know if anybody has any questions or comments whatsoever. And I'm so sorry for going almost 16 minutes on this. All right, thanks.